Yo, what's good, everybody? How's it going? So today's video, nothing news related in terms of the football world, but somebody did ask me a question in the last video that I had, and I figured I'd make a video out of it. Let me show you guys the question. Yeah, there we go. So shout out to Light Shadows here. He says he has a question. Do you think we should get our franchise QB first, either as a veteran through a trade or rookie through the draft, and build an offense around him, or build the supporting cast first, wait till the right QB available, and then drop him to our offense as a puzzle? This is something that I have kind of gone over as like a secondary option, but it's becoming like the more I think about it, it's becoming like 1B for me. um so I went over teams that when they drafted their franchise guy, what their situation. Let me see if you there we go. See? So yeah, franchise back and there's my notepad on my phone. I don't have it like on my computer. So I would just go over it. So let's look at the question again. Okay, so even if we get a veteran, right? It's like a 1 to 3 year end, in my opinion. So let's just say for instance, bring back Jimmy G, and let's just say best case scenario he stays healthy. He's probably there 3 years max, and we'll probably have a guy ready before it's time to go, right? The thing is, the only reason why I'm not so high on somebody like Cam Newton is because he's probably a 1 year guy. I don't see him being a 3, even if he plays way better than he does last year. I don't see him being that much of a temporary op, like a 3 to 5 guy. If we look at what the Chiefs had with Alex Smith, he was there for like that 3 to 5 years range, if I remember correctly. But the Chiefs are also the best example in terms of build the core first, and then when it's time to find that guy, they found Mahomes, right? Kelsey, they had him for quite some time now. As you can see, he's 30, right? He's the same age as Gronk, believe it or not. They had Kareem Hunt and Tyreek Hill the year before they drafted Mahomes. So they had the core already in place. Obviously, we don't have a Kareem Hunt. That's just bad luck. But you can see they had those 3 guys ready to go when Mahomes was put into the spot. And even then, they let him sit for a year and then put him in. So they can let the core develop. Now, if we get somebody in the draft now, what is he coming to? Jacoby Myers? We have a great run game. Don't, like that's fine, but who's he going to throw the ball to? Those 2 tight ends we got last year, they did not look good. And even if we re-signed Demir Bird, those were our 2 best receivers last year. We don't even know if Edelman's coming back. So again, there's no core. If we look at Brady, when Drew Bledsoe got hurt, they had a core already, and then they built around him over the years. They had Troy Brown, David Givens, David Patton, Daniel Graham, I think, Kevin Falk, all these players that were already the core of the team. Brady had that coming in, and then you bring in Deion Branch the year after. So like the core is already in place. I'm just gonna go over all the franchise quarterbacks now, and what their situation was like when they came in. So just so y'all will have an example of why I think as of right now, 1B, 1A obviously get the quarterback if you find him, right? Because they're hard to find. But 1B, don't be upset if we don't find the franchise quarterback of the future, but we build the core so when we get our guy, there's something there for him, right? Just don't be upset. Like, I'm already coming to terms where we might draft Micah Parsons at 50. Now, I had to watch footage of him so I can be happy if we take him, because we'll have a complete defense as well to complement the core we'll be building for the future. So I already mentioned Mahomes. If we look at Aaron Rodgers, he was drafted in 05, but he didn't start till 08, right? Because Brett Favre retired like 7 times. But when he came in, he already had Greg Jennings and Donald Driver, right? Those guys were there forever. Jordy Nelson was on the roster already, but he wasn't a factor yet until Greg Jennings went to Minnesota. But the chemistry was already there. Just plug and play after that. Ben Roethlisberger. Yes, they were run heavy first with Jerome Bettis, right? But they had Hines Ward, Plaxico Burress, and Antoine Randall, right? And then they just had receivers for years to come. They just shit out receivers. It's just facts. We got Eli Manning. He had Tiki Barber, Jeremy Shockey, Amani Toomer, Ike Hilliard. Not great, but this was the core, and they were very good. Ike Hilliard, solid number 2. Jeremy Shockey he was really good when he was healthy, and then Tiki Barber, one of the very few running backs at the time that was, he was going to catch like 80 passes a season as a running back. Basically Christian McCaffrey, but way back then. I already mentioned Brady. Then you got Matt Ryan. When he came in, they already had Michael Turner, Roddy White, Michael Jenkins. And then like I said, you have a core, and then you build on that. So you got Tony G in 2010 as a temporary solid piece. You're trying to win now. And then you had Julio Jones, who was his go-to guy for the future in 2011. Now you still got Matt Ryan and Julio Jones there 10 years later. But that all started because you already had a core when he came in. Peyton Manning, they had Marshall Faulk on the Colts. I did not know that until I looked that up. But when Peyton was drafted, they already had Marvin Harrison, who was his go-to guy forever. And then if you look at when he went to the Broncos, they had a core already with Eric Decker and Demaryius Thomas and Julius Thomas, and a bunch of running backs. But he went to a team that had a core already. They didn't have to build around Peyton when he got there. Then if you look at Deshaun Watson, you already had DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, he doesn't now, but obviously when he was drafted to be their guy for the future, they had a number 1 target already. And then, Will Fuller, they tried to get Kenny Stills. I think they tried Randall Cobb. I forget the running. I can't think. Josh Rosen, when he was drafted, no receiver. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald, yeah, but obviously he's on his way out. He's about to retire. So he looked awful because there was just nobody. There was just no number 1 receiver. Kyler Murray, when he was drafted, there was no number 1 receiver. So obviously you built around him, getting DeAndre Hopkins. But as you look at his rookie season, he was okay. Showed flashes, right, because of his ability to run, but he had no receiver. Same thing with Josh Allen, drafted. They had no number 1 for 2 years. And then, obviously, 2 years later, you get Stephon Diggs. And that's pretty much where I stopped. But as you can see, like Lamar Jackson, I think they drafted Mark Andrews the same draft. So that's just an example of you building around Lamar Jackson, assuming he's going to be the guy. Joe Burrow has 2 receivers. When you cut now Jacksonville, when they get Trevor Lawrence, they already have Shenault and Cole. Keelan Cole. He's gonna have 2 receivers already there and a running back in James Robinson. Still thinking. Russell Wilson had some receivers. They eventually got Marshawn Lynch. I think that was Russell Wilson's team. Whatever the Bears do, there is just nothing there. Cole Kmet, Devin Singletary. Wait a second. That's not right running back. My memory's all over the place. But as you can see, it's better to have core first than get a quarterback and then build around him. Because if he plays bad, it just makes the quarterback look bad. It hurts his confidence. Like look at even with Mark Sanchez, right? They had the number 1 defense, the number 1 rushing attack. I'm trying to think of who he even had to throw the ball to. He eventually got Plaxico Burress at some point. It wasn't Santonio Holmes, right? Was it? Might have been him. Didn't they get Braylon Edwards at some point too? So like they definitely built around Mark Sanchez. He just wasn't good. Dak Prescott, they got Zeke that same year. They had Des Bryant and Jason Witten on the roster already. Even when Tony Romo got there, Tony Romo had Jason Witten. And was it Miles Austin before Terrell Owens? I think so. So yeah, you can see. Like, it's better to have a core already in place for the quarterback. And then, like I said, I'm fine with Mariota for, 1 to 3 years. So when you find your guy, there's a core in place. Let me know what you guys think. The biggest thing I'm hearing right now is, let me look for the tweet. The whole green I like that just so I could find it right here. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the roster for the past plan to stick with Cam. They'll obviously have to upgrade receiver and tight end. But do they also draft the QB high? What happens if Cam doesn't improve with better weapons? Contingency plan. Yes, you do. But it depends who your quarterback is when that contingency plan decides to happen. So if it's Cam, yes, you're back in the same situation next year that you gotta find a quarterback and you gotta throw him in right now. If it's like a Mariota, I can see that if he's awful 1 year, you give him another year, then you try to find the quarterback in that same draft in the second year. It just depends who the quarterback is. It's Jimmy G. If he stays healthy, it's all about if he can stay healthy. It's not even about if he can that or not. So if he plays bad, even whether he's healthy or he plays bad, regardless, whichever one happens, I think he still gets 2 to 3 years. Right? It's not just 1 year and then gone. At least that's what I think. Now, if it's Cam, it's just 1 year. Jimmy G, Mariota, they're gonna get 2 to 3. Even if we get somebody like a Gardner Minshew from Jacksonville, that's 2 to 3. He's not gonna get 1 year done, right? Because you still have that. This is also assuming we don't have a full core yet, because I doubt we're gonna just build the entire core in one. I just don't think that's real. If it happens, great, right? We're just one tight end and 2 receivers away, right? It's not. I don't think it's impossible. Like I said in the last video, you have Jonnu, Corey Davis, Curtis Samuel. Unless we get, expensive, right? There's still Allen Robinson, Kenny Galladay. So it just, it depends who the quarterback is that we get, and what it will determine their window. I think Cam and Brissett will only get a year. I don't like Brissett at all. He's not a starting quarterback. He has flashes that he can be solid, but he doesn't. I haven't seen flashes of him. Jimmy G, Mariota will get 2 to 3. Cam a year. Fitzpatrick a year. Unless we find the quarterback of the future in the draft, then he'll have that season help develop the young guy. It's not Stidham. It's not Hoyer. They looked awful. They looked lost on the field last season. They just looked lost. Like they just didn't know how to play quarterback. Trying to think of the other options. I would have wanted Carson Wentz. Like they gave up a second and a third or whatever the trade was. Yeah. Just looking at realistic scenarios. Like I would like to see Mac Jones as, if we can get him at 15. A lot of people are gonna say no, but that's plan A for me. Either trade up for Lance, or if we can get Mac at 15, I'm okay with either one. And then we sign the guy to a veteran to help develop Mac. I'm all in on Fitzpatrick doing, right? Or maybe we bring in Cam for a year, uses charisma to lure guys over, and then see what we can do. But let me know what you guys think. Any more questions? Let me know. I have no issue with doing research on stuff like this because I learned something. Like knowing that Marshall Faulk was on the Colts with Peyton. I didn't know that. And was it 97? Whatever year he was drafted. I didn't know that. That's way before my time of when I started watching football. I didn't start watching football until 2001. All this other stuff I kind of already knew. Especially with Mahomes, Rodgers, Roethlisberger, Eli, Brady, Matt Ryan, Eli. All this other stuff I already knew. But, I don't mind learning something like I did with, the whole Peyton situation. But yeah, leave another comment below. Any other questions? If you would like to see this kind of stuff live instead of just a video, you see it later. I know I said I was going to do this yesterday. I got home and I kind of was like too tired. So I just said I would just do it early today. So I apologize. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. More questions, feel free. Sub, like, comment, please. Peace.